What an embarrassing performance by this Green Bay Packers football team. Thursday Night Football, Week 4, divisional game in your own stadium. Man, that was an ugly, ugly game. The score doesn't even do it justice of how ugly that game was. Detroit winning 34-20 against the Packers here in Week 4. Welcome back into the channel, guys. I'm going to give my instant thoughts and reaction to this ugly football game. There's a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about for this offense, this defense, special teams, and everything in between, so stay tuned. If you guys do happen to be a new viewer to this channel and want more Packers news, analysis, and updates, even after losses like that, you'll find it all here on this channel, so go down and click subscribe if that does interest you. All right, where do I even get started? I guess I'll start with how the Packers have been starting in every single game this season. Every single game this season, the Packers have started flat-footed, and it was the worst today. And this is primarily the offense, right? Like last week, they got a stop. First drive, 3-and-out Saints, ended up with no points. This week, interception Jared Goff. Rudy Ford takes it to, I believe, the 16-yard line. You lose yards. You don't gain a single yard. You end up kicking a field goal. If you go down and score a touchdown there, that probably changes this entire game in terms of momentum, how this game turns out. I doubt it's 27-3 at half. You know, it's just been flat-footed every single time for this offense. And then finally, maybe in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, the offense starts to ramp it up and they're kind of, opening the playbook a little bit. And maybe the defense is more so playing prevent at that point. But at that point, it's too little too late. Last week was an anomaly. Down 17 points going into the fourth quarter, you win 18-17. That's not going to happen often, right? It's not going to happen even a little bit. It's an anomaly. It was a tremendous comeback, and I give the team great credit for the resilience there. But how do you do that, down 17, go back and win that game all in the fourth quarter, and then 4 days later put up a performance like this against a divisional opponent in your own stadium? It's absolutely embarrassing. There's a lot of bad in this football game, and there is still some positive, and it's not much, but there is still some. It seems like every time there was something positive, it got outweighed by something negative. Overall, man, this Packers team in the first half of these games, something needs to change, right? And it's absolutely criminal to not be giving the ball to Aaron Jones still. It's week in and week out that this keeps happening. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I understand Aaron Jones is coming back from a hamstring injury, but he's active, right? If you don't feel comfortable enough for him to be on the field and play, then don't activate him. Keep him out of this game if you're so worried about the hamstring. And it doesn't make sense because he still played later in the game, got carries, got handoffs, got passes, whatever. But they didn't hand him the ball until 13 minutes remaining in this second quarter, and I believe it was on their third or fourth drive. That is absolutely criminal. The Packers' running game has been probably one of the worst in the NFL. I would assume run blocking and running in general is probably ranked dead last on this team, and it's really, really hurting this team. The Packers ran 12 times tonight for 27 yards. And a 2.3 average, one touchdown. The one touchdown was the Jordan Love design quarterback draw to the empty set. Awesome design. The only bright spot in the running game today was by a non-running back. Aaron Jones, 5 for 18, 3.6 average. His average is only under 4 yards per carry because of that wacky power option that they keep trying to run. They ran it week 1 with Jaden Reed. It was a loss of 6. They ran it today with Aaron Jones, loss of 4 or 5. They ran it at the goal line in the 2-point conversion. It didn't succeed. I don't understand why the Packers are trying to run this college power option pistol offense so much. They ran so much pistol tonight, and it's just a horrible scheme against, these wide 9 type of edge players by the Detroit Lions because they were getting home so quick. I don't understand why the Packers are so obsessed with the pistol right now. I know it still is a thing in the NFL, but I just don't think it works for the Green Bay Packers. And that much has been very, very clear. But back to my point, they got to feed Aaron Jones. At the end of the day, he is the focal point of your offense. If you're not even giving him the ball until the second quarter, that's why you're down so big. And then there's A.J. Dillon with another horrible game, 5 carries, 11 yards, 2.2 average. But the same thing still happened to A.J. Dillon where there was times where he got contacted instantly in the backfield. I think there's one where it was like a loss of 4 or 5. It's like the dude almost took the handoff out of Jordan Love's hands. So yes, A.J. Dillon can be better, and I mentioned this before, but that run blocking offensive line like definitely has to be the worst in the NFL. And it doesn't help you're without Elton Jenkins, you're without David Bakhtiari, but man, I don't understand why Royce Newman continues to be the Packers left guard. Like, Sean Ryan can't be that bad. You drafted him last year in the 3rd round, right? Out of UCLA. He cannot be worse than Royce Newman. There's no way. And I'm basing that off of, he looked great in training camp. He looked good in preseason. I know it's a whole different animal than regular season against the Lions front 7, but man, there's no way it could be worse than Royce Newman. He was definitely the worst lineman tonight. Rasheed Walker also struggled after this news of David Bakhtiari going on IR, arthroscopic knee surgery yesterday, planned surgery in a couple weeks. He's probably done for the season. No, they can't trade him. No one wants to trade for him. He wouldn't even pass a physical anyways. So it looks like it's going to be Rasheed Walker at left tackle unless they make a swap and put Tom out there and Rasheed to right or Nyman or something of that sort. He's been good the previous 2 games. It was not good tonight. The Lions front 7, the Lions in general just won the trenches tonight, and it was bad. The lone bright spot on offense was probably Romeo Doubs, 9 catches, 95 yards, 10.6 average. He had 13 targets, so continued to feed Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed, I thought, had also a nice game, 3 catches, 55 yards, an awesome catch up the right side there. Continues to make like crazy catches and great plays, so want to see him more in this offense and maybe more in the backfield. Like if you don't have Aaron Jones or you're not comfortable with giving him too many snaps because of that hamstring, maybe run Jaden Reed out of the backfield. Not run with him, but run some Texas routes and some screen passes and whatnot, kind of like what you did with Randall Cobb in 2014. I feel like that would work, but the Packers don't really do it. He was in the backfield a couple times, but usually motioned out wide. Torrey, 1 catch, 35 yards. Absolutely ridiculous catch on the left side. Not that it mattered. It's too little, too late, but awesome catch by Torrey. The Packers had to really feed the ball to Josiah DeGuara in this game. He's actually 2nd in receptions on this team, 4 catches, 34 yards after Musgrave left the game with a concussion. So definitely got to monitor that over the next 10 days before the Raiders game. Watson, definitely on a pitch count, 2 catches, 25 yards, and that touchdown. He looked pretty good. Definitely want to see him get ramped up into the Raiders game, and hopefully that could be another spark for this offense. We saw more Tucker Kraft with Musgrave out, 2 catches, 5 yards. He looked pretty decent. Overall, this offense just didn't look good at all. Jordan Love throwing 2 interceptions, 2 bad interceptions. The first one got tipped. The second one, Romeo Doubs and him miscommunication on an extended play. Took 5 sacks, and a lot of them, honestly, I believe, were on Love holding the ball too long. Yeah, we can't see what the receivers are doing, but you got to trust your wide receivers, and it seemed like Jordan Love wasn't as decisive today as what we've seen in the last 3 weeks. Like, Jordan Love looked really, really off in this game. Now, 3rd quarter was good. He was slinging the ball. He made some really nice throws, but accuracy and overthrowing still remains to be an issue. Definitely something that's got to be cleaned up. Now, I am still impressed with Jordan Love so far this season as a whole. There's a lot that has to be cleaned up. Like, I'm not sitting here going, oh, Jordan Love has been perfect. He's been this, he's been that. He's definitely been impressive. There's times where you really get wowed by Jordan Love, and it reminds me a lot of an early Aaron Rodgers where you go, wow, at certain plays, but there's a lot of mistakes, a lot left on the field, and that's kind of been a reoccurring theme for the first 4 weeks now. Moving on to the defense, I want to start off by saying, if it was my choice, Joe Barry wouldn't be the defensive coordinator, but man, I can't sit here and blame this game on the defense. Could they have been better? 100%. Could they have stopped the run better? 100%. But man, they were gassed. The offense did them nothing. They did them no justice early on in this game. It was a 3 and out, a 3 and out, a 3 and out, a 3 and out. The Packers had like 10 yards going into halftime or something abysmal. They had like -1 yard for a while. So you can't sit there and blame the defense when they're back on the field in 45 seconds every single time after a long drive previously before that. I was impressed by some players tonight on that defense. Very impressed with Quay Walker up until that penalty. Quay Walker had probably one of his best games as a pro up until that penalty, just kind of showcasing the same things we saw last year with the boneheaded mental mistakes. He had 19 total tackles, a tackle for loss. I thought he looked excellent. And then that penalty happens on special teams. It can't happen. Just an undisciplined team, it seems like, in terms of penalties still. I thought Rudy Ford had a good day. Obviously, the opening interception, he played pretty well. Rashawn Gary continues to rush the passer well. There's still an issue containing the edge with these edge players against the run for sure. And I also thought Devontae Wyatt played well. I think he had a sack. He had a couple run stuffs. He was, I saw him a lot. Carl Brooks also got a sack, so I'd love to see that. But, this game for me is definitely on the offense. Like, the defense gave you a score on a platter to start the game, and that could have changed the game. Then even after that, you get 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, and really just put your defense at a massive disadvantage. And again, the defense can definitely play better. I'm not sitting here going, they were perfect by any means, because they weren't. And this Lions team ran all over them. The Lions ran 43 times for 211 yards, 4.9 average, 3 touchdowns. Like, if you covered up the score and looked at time of possession and rushing yards, you would know who won this game. Like, no doubt, you wouldn't even have to look at the score, and you'd probably think it's a 2 to 3 score game. And it was a 2-score game. So David Montgomery, 32 carries, 121 yards. Not a great average, 3.8 average, but 3 touchdowns. When it mattered, he got the touchdown. When it mattered, he got the first down, right? It's kind of what you would expect from A.J. Dillon, to be honest. Khalif Raymond with the 1 carry, 40 yards on the end around. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 carries, 40 yards. The Packers did a good job containing him in the passing game, 4 catches for 11 yards. The Lions didn't really need to throw, right? Like, Josh Reynolds, 3 for 69. St. Brown, 5 for 56. Laporta, 4 for 56. Laporta's looking real nice so far this season. The Lions didn't really need to throw, and that's the thing. Like, I'm definitely giving credit to the Lions. They played much better than us in this game. But a lot of the times, like, they didn't need to do too much. The Packers kind of just kept giving them the ball back, and they just, ran here and there, and they definitely made the plays when they needed to be done. If it was a 3rd down, they made it a really impressive, throw or catch or something of that sort. They just played better on all fronts than the Packers. But at least Daniel Whelan looked good. I mean, dude has been a great punter all season and looked the same tonight. He surely got a lot of practice. But overall, recapping this game, just an embarrassing performance. They're going to have a 10-day stretch now until they go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders Monday Night Football. And there's a lot that has to be cleaned up, and hopefully it is. Hopefully the opening script on offense is completely changed, and because it's not working. Hopefully this team can get a little bit healthier, and we get Jair back, and hopefully a full Aaron Jones that they'll actually be able to utilize. Christian Watson, the same thing. There's still positives to take out of this team. This team's still 2-2. They're a very young team. Speed bumps are going to happen. Hiccups are going to happen. I said this all preseason. There's going to be the ups and there's going to be the downs, and that goes for Jordan Love and the entire football team. They're the youngest team in the NFL. They're inexperienced. Seems like they're undisciplined right now in terms of penalties and mental mistakes. That needs to definitely get cleaned up, but it's not the end of the world. It's week 4. It could be worse. We could be the Bears. We could be the Vikings, 2 0-3 teams that are not better than the Packers. So it could be worse. We're first year with a new quarterback, and yet we're still second in the division, and, could still make the playoffs, could still win the division. It's all still wide open right now. It's week 4, right? It's just there's a lot of reoccurring, issues with this football team that I think are going to keep happening unless something gets fixed. That's, the undiscipline, the penalties, mental mistakes, first half slow start, all of that. Something's got to change. They got to switch something up because it's clearly not working. But those are my instant thoughts and reaction. My rant is over. Again, it's not the end of the world. I'm still, happy the start of this team, even being 2-2 and that amazing 4th quarter comeback last week. But it just sucks when you have that 4 days ago and then something like this happens on primetime in your own stadium. It's just embarrassing, and it's not what you want to see. But that about does it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments talking about this game. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.